Good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of AircraftPost Rousseau Report. I'm your host, Dennis Rousseau. Today we're going to talk about an aircraft that has quite a history. We speak to iterations on different make models. This one has iterations that you're just not going to believe. It's the Gulfstream G150. But first, a little bit of history. The Commander Light Business Twin was conceived in 1944 by an engineer from Douglas Aircraft. The prototype, powered by two Lycoming piston engines, first flew in 1948. It was actually designed for feeder airline service, but found a home in the private business and military markets with the production model Commander 500. It entered service in 1951. Typical configuration was for 4 passengers. The aircraft underwent many improvements, including a jet version in 1963 called the Jet Commander. It used the Aero Commander fuselage and CJ610 engines, which are used on most early business jets. North American Rockwell acquired the company in the mid-60s. However, as they were already building the Sabreliner, due to antitrust issues, they had to sell the company, and Israeli Aircraft Industries, also known as IAI, acquired them in 1968. They then embarked on a very ambitious program to stretch the fuselage and modify the wing, and this became the Westwind 1121 and 1123, turning out 183 aircraft over the next 8 years. However, these early aircraft only had a range of 1,400 miles. So in 1976, with the advent of the turbofan engine, IAI added TFE 731 engines and wingtip tanks for additional fuel and rebranded the aircraft the Westwind 1124 and Westwind 1, building 228 aircraft over the next 10 years. Then in 1980, IAI added winglets on top of the tip tank, modified the wing, and rebranded the aircraft the Westwind 2, building 145 aircraft over the next 7 years. The Westwinds were recognized for their spacious cabin with a fully enclosed aft lavatory and low noise levels that were achieved by mounting the engines a full wing width after the passenger cabin. And if you recall in our Lear videos, the engine nacelles were right next to the aft cabin window, not the quietest aircraft in town. Speaking of the wing, they were mounted halfway up the fuselage instead of the typical low wing arrangement on other business jets. This earned the aircraft many monikers, including the Canoe, because of the overall shape of the fuselage and the fact they were so close to the ground. And with that said, Westwinds may just be the ugliest business jets ever made, but they were built like bricks. In 1985, they introduced the 1125 Astra, and this was the true turning point as they actually transformed the 1124 in the small jet category into the Astra, placed in the medium jet arena. The aircraft used the Westwind fuselage mated to a new wing mounted to the bottom of the aircraft, which lifted the aircraft off the ground with a conventional landing gear. The Astra received type certification in 1986. And notice the passenger cabin is narrower than its competitors, but a true trademark of the Westwind cabin is the vertical sidewalls in the square oval cross-section. By using a drop center aisle, the aircraft had a cabin height of 5 feet 7 inches. Similar to most aircraft models, over the years select improvements are incorporated in production, such as adding winglets for improved performance and upgrading the cockpit. The later Westwind 2s and all Astras came standard equipped with first-generation EFIS. And in 1996, IAI upgraded the cockpit to ProLine 4, the same system used in its larger sibling, the G200, as well as the Falcon 2000 and the Lear 60. In 2001, with 140 Astras in service, Gulfstream acquired Galaxy Aerospace, the Texas-based subsidiary of IAI that completed the interiors for what would become the G100 and G200. As well, they agreed to collaborate on future developments, with aircraft being built in Israel and completed in the U.S. Now keep in mind, IAI only built 140 Astras over 15 years, which equates to about 9 aircraft per year at price points averaging from $6 to $11 million. So what did Gulfstream buy other than the completion center? Well, in 2002, they announced the G150. It used the G100 wing and empennage, but widened the fuselage 12 inches and installed oval versus the rectangular windows found on its predecessor. Also, the TFE 731 engines were upgraded to the -40s, giving the aircraft better time to climb and cruise performance, as well as lower fuel burns, and they're equipped with digital electronic engine controls, where similar to FADEC, you set the power and the computer does the rest, as scary a thought as that may be. The aircraft entered service in 2006 at a price point of $13 million. The Collins Proline 4 was replaced with the next generation Proline 21, featuring four 12-inch LCDs, and overall the aircraft was very well equipped with dual FMS, dual AHRS, TCAS, enhanced GPWS. Some of the major options: auto throttles for $225,000, laser F5s for $244,000, second HF radio $96,000, broadband internet for $210,000, and as you'll see, we can easily spend over $1 million outfitting the aircraft. And of course, we can't forget the most expensive of all, enhanced vision system, at a cost of $415,000. To Gulfstream's credit, the 150 is the only aircraft in the medium category to offer EVS, although only 6% of the fleet has it installed. As a side note to buyers of new aircraft, the money spent on options is money under the bridge come time of resale. The G550 was offered with 3 interior layouts, with the majority incorporating the 7-place configuration, the one in the middle, with 1 single seat opposite a 2-place divan in the forward cabin and 4 singles in a club arrangement aft. For those that opted for 8-passenger seating, the second single seat all but eliminates the forward galley, turning it into a refreshment center. Let's now take a tour of the cabin. As you enter the aircraft, the galley is directly across from the entrance door and incorporates a standard 15-inch video monitor that's concealed in the face of the galley and swings out for passenger viewing. God help a pilot that gets up mid-flight and that video monitor is out and he whacks his head into it. Well, a couple of options here are a moving map system for $90,000. It lets you know where you're at any point in time. And of course, you can opt for high-definition video as well for only $97,000. You'll notice the dropped aisle in the photo on the left, and for potential pre-owned buyers, be alert so as not to break your neck stepping down the trough at night. The interior on your left depicts the 6-place interior, and the one on the right shows the 7-place. You'll notice the 10-inch plug-in monitors on the drink rail. They cost $22,000 each. So in this case, the original buyer spent almost $100,000 for video monitors. Return, $0. The lavatories in the aftmost cabin is well suited for 4 to 6 passengers, and it also incorporates a full-length closet on the left-hand side. The main competitors to the G150 are the Lear 60XR and the Hawker 900XP. All 3 aircraft are equipped with Proline 21 avionics and have similar cabins, although the 900XP cabin is about 35% larger than the other 2. One of the things that separates these aircraft is that the 150 uses pneumatic de-ice boots on the wing versus heated leading edges. They work fine and save engine power, but they're ugly. And although the 900XP and 150 have a comparable range of 2,800 miles, the 60XR falls short at 2,200. A real plus for the G150 is that it's maintained on an MSG3 schedule, and as such, the inspection intervals are spaced far enough apart to where you're not incurring unnecessary downtime. The 96-month is the major airframe inspection and costs in the neighborhood of $300,000, and depending on discrepancies, incurs about 3 weeks of downtime. In 2016, after a 10-year run of only 126 aircraft, Gulfstream ceased production. And as is usually the case, values are affected. There are currently 9 aircraft on the market, with ask prices ranging from $2.9 to $5.5 million. In the last 6 months, there have been 7 transactions from a low of 2.8 to a high of 4.5. So what does this look like on a value curve? If we take a 2007 year model and run it out 12 years, the G150 lost almost 80% in market depreciation, which if we fly the aircraft 300 hours a year, that equates to a little over $3,000 per hour. Add that to your hourly and fixed costs, and the aircraft tends to get a bit pricey. The aircraft was great for its time. However, when the pre-owned markets of larger jets encroach on the price point new of medium jets, it pretty much puts a damper on sales. So as another aircraft bites the dust, onward we go to a new territory. For AircraftPost Rousseau Report, I'm Dennis Rousseau. Thank you for watching, and tune in next time when we explore market depreciation in a little bit more detail.